To begin with, we are not what you'd call human. Over the past 200 years, a kind of consciousness formed layer by layer in the crucible of the White House. It's not unlike the way life started in the oceans 4 billion years ago. The White House was our primordial soup, a base of evolution. We are formless. We are the very discipline and morality that Americans invoke so often. How can anyone hope to eliminate us? As long as this nation exists, so will we. Don't you know that our plans have your interests, not ours in mind? The mapping of the human genome was completed early this century. As a result, the evolutionary log of the human race lay open to us. We started with genetic engineering, and in the end, we succeeded in digitizing life itself. But there are things not covered by genetic information: human memories, ideas, culture, history. Genes don't contain any record of human history. Is it something that should not be passed on? Should that information be left at the mercy of nature? We've always kept records of our lives through words, pictures, symbols, from tablets to books. But not all the information was inherited by later generations. A small percentage of the whole was selected and processed, then passed on. Not unlike genes, really. But in the current digitized world, trivial information is accumulating every second, preserved in all its triteness, never fading, always accessible. Rumors about petty issues, misinterpretations, slander. All this junk data preserved in an unfiltered state, growing at an alarming rate. It will only slow down social progress, reduce the rate of evolution. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context. The digital society furthers human flaws and selectively rewards development of convenient half-truth. Just look at the strange juxtapositions of morality around you. Billions spent on new weapons in order to humanely murder other humans. Rights of criminals are given more respect than the privacy of their victims. Although there are people suffering in poverty, huge donations are made to protect endangered species. Everyone grows up being told the same thing: be nice to other people, but beat out the competition. You're special, believe in yourself, and you will succeed. But it's obvious from the start that only a few can succeed. You exercise your right to freedom, and this is the result. All rhetoric to avoid conflict and protect each other from hurt. The untested truth spun by different interests continue to churn and accumulate in the sandbox of political correctness and value systems. Everyone withdraws into their own small gated community, afraid of a larger forum. They stay inside their little ponds, leaking whatever truth suits them into the growing cesspool of society at large. The different cardinal truths neither clash nor mesh. No one is invalidated, but nobody's right. Not even natural selection can take place here. The world is being engulfed in truth, and this is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but with a whimper. We're trying to stop that from happening. It's our responsibility as rulers. Just as in genetics, unnecessary information and memory must be filtered out to stimulate the evolution of the species. We are absolutely qualified to handle that. Who else could wade through the sea of garbage you people produce, retrieve valuable truth, and even interpret their meaning for later generations? That's what it means to create context. You lack the qualifications to exercise free will. Does something like a self exist inside of you? That what you call self serves as nothing more than a mask to cover your own being. In this area of ready-made truth, self is just something used to preserve those positive emotions that you occasionally feel. Another possibility is that self is a concept you conveniently borrowed under the logic that it would endow you with some sense of strength. Ironic that although self is something that you yourself fashioned, every time something goes wrong, you turn around and place the blame on something else. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. In denial, you simply resort to looking for another, more convenient truth in order to make yourself feel better, leaving behind in an instant the so-called truth you once embraced. Should someone like that be able to decide what is truth? Should someone like you even have the right to decide? You have done nothing but abuse your freedom. You don't deserve to be free. You are a perfect representative of the masses we need to protect. We are not the ones mothering the world. You are. The individual is supposed to be weak, but far from powerless, a single person has the potential to ruin the world. And the age of digitized communication has given even more power to the individual. Too much power for an immature species. Building a legacy involves figuring out what is wanted and what needs to be done for that goal. All this you used to struggle with. Now we think for you. We are your guardians, after all. The S3 plan does not stand for solid snake simulation. What it does stand for is selection for societal sanity. The S3 is a system for controlling human will and consciousness. S3 is not you, a soldier trained in the image of Solid Snake. It is a method, a protocol that created a circumstance that made you what you are. So you see, we are the S3, not you. What you experienced was the final test of its effectiveness. The objective of this exercise was to establish such a method. We used Shadow Moses as a paradigm for the exercise. We chose that backdrop because of its extreme circumstances. It was an optimal test for S3's crisis management capacity. If the model could trigger, control and solve this, it would be ready for any contingency. And now we have our proof. You accepted the fiction we provided, obeyed our orders, and did everything you were told to. The exercise is a resounding success. Your persona, experiences, triumphs and defeats are nothing but byproducts. The real objective was ensuring that we could generate and manipulate them. It's taken a lot of time and money, but it was well worth it, considering the results. I think that's enough talk. It's time for the final exercise. Raiden, take Solidus down. We will collect the necessary data from this last fight. Then we'll consider the exercise closed. So, Jack the Ripper, will it be Solidus, the Patriots' creation, or you, Solidus's creation? Our beloved monsters, enjoy yourselves. Raiden, you have to beat Solidus. This is your last duty. You're nothing but mere weapons, no different from fighter jets or tanks. The old model destroyed 4 years ago was Rex. The new amphibious model is Ray. Both of these are the same as the code names used by the US Armed Forces to refer to Japanese warplanes during World War II. Your codename Raiden 2 comes from the Japanese Navy's name for one of its interceptors. Do you know the codename the US Armed Forces used for the Japanese fighter Raiden? It was Jack. Both of you are just weapons to be used and thrown away. Just weapons to be used on the battlefield. Just pawns in a game. And a weapon has no right to think for itself. Now it's time to fulfill your purpose. Defeat Solidus.